Hey friends, I'm Amy Jackson and I'm the owner of The Perch, which is a wellness center in downtown Aurora. Today I have a yoga practice that is perfect for when you need a little bit of encouragement. Maybe you've had a rough day or you're just feeling out of sorts. This is sure to help you feel a little bit better. All right. Now, before we get started, before we go anywhere into the poses, I want to say this. Often the hardest part of yoga is just getting here to the mat, getting started, pressing play on the video. And so I just want to congratulate you for doing that. You are showing up for yourself. You have already done the hardest part, and that is amazing. That's worth celebrating. I'm so glad you're here. All right. To get started, we're going to move into one of my very favorite yoga poses, and that's Warrior Two. So I've got a blanket for later. You may want a pillow or something like that for later on, but right now we just need our mat or just a bit of carpet or your wood floor, whatever you've got, as we move into this first standing pose. So starting with the feet together in the center, we're going to step the feet apart. And then I'm going to bend my right knee and bring my heel up and underneath so that my foot is going straight with my mat. Now I'm going to bring that those left toes in so that they're at a bit of an angle. And from here, I'm going to bring my hands to my hips and start to just do this rocking motion, just gently side to side. Just warming up the hips a little bit, stretching in. Feels nice. Now, when you're ready, find yourself back in the center of the pose. And then we're going to bring our arms up to a T. Arms come out, relax the fingers, roll the shoulders down your back, bring the belly button in toward the spine, and then reach with those arms. Awesome. Now from here, if it would feel good, you can turn to look over those right fingertips. But if it hurts in the neck at all, just keep your head looking straight ahead. This is Warrior Two, and it's a very strong, confidence-boosting kind of a pose. It's kind of our power pose in yoga, if you will, because it's got all these major muscle groups working, moving, and it just feels like a nice, amazing stretch. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. We're going to switch to the other side. Drop your arms down. We're going to rotate the feet. So I'm going to bend through this left knee this time. Bring the legs straight so it's parallel with the mat. And then I'm going to bring my right heel out a little bit. I'm going to actually stretch out my stance a little bit here. On this side, I'm a little bit more flexible. That feels better. Now I'm going to bring my arms to the hips. Gentle rock back and forth. Nothing wild here, but it just starts to loosen up those hips. The hips tend to be a place that we clench when we're nervous or when we have big emotions. And so it can feel really nice to stretch them out. Find the center of the pose. Bring those shoulders down your back. Belly button comes in. And then arms come up to a T. Bring the shoulders down. Relax the hands. Reach through the arms. And then if it feels good, you can turn to look over those left fingertips. You can challenge yourself here by bending a little deeper into that knee, letting the hips sink just a little bit more toward the mat. Nice, strong pose. Couple more breaths here. Fantastic. 3, 2, 1. Bring the arms down. We're going to walk our feet in just slightly. Turn the toes so they're open like a V, and then we're going to bring our arms up overhead into an X here. But this is star pose, and our head is the top of the star. Now, to do this pose, I want you to actively press into those feet, reach through the arms, open the chest, take a deep breath in. Star pose is all about reminding us that we are allowed to take up space. So I want you to take up as much space as possible right now, friend, okay? You deserve to take up space. The world needs you to take up space, all right? So let's practice now. Take up as much space as you can right here on your mat. Deep breath in and exhale out. We're creating all this space for ourselves. So take a big breath in and exhale out. One more time. Deep breath in and let it go. Fantastic. Bring the arms down. You can bring the feet together. We're going to do a variation of a forward fold. I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see this a little bit better, but you can stay right where you are. So to do this, I'm going to bring my feet underneath me. They are not all the way together. I want them to feel nice and steady underneath my hips. And then I'm going to bring my hands to my hips, bend the knees. And as I bend the knees, I'm going to bring my torso forward, folding forward. Now, as I do this, I actually want a little more space for my belly. So you can always widen your stance here, make it a little bit more comfortable for your body, right? Bend the knees, bring the head forward, bring the shoulders forward. You might even be able to reach the floor here. And then I want you to imagine that you are shaking your head yes and no, nice and slow, stretching out the neck, letting gravity pull the neck and the head and the shoulders down, down, down. Take a deep breath in here to relax the whole body and let it go. Now, if your hands are near the floor, you're already here. You can bend the knees a little bit more. And we're just going to bring the knees all the way down to the mat. We're going to come down to the mat for a few stretches and then for our Shavasana pose. All right. So go ahead and come down to the back. Take your time getting there. We'll meet there when you're all ready. So I'm going to keep my entire back on the floor here. Knees are going to be bent. And then once you arrive here, you can actually bring your knees in toward the body. You can rock back and forth. I like to feel the support of the floor on my spine and my low back. Just a kind of a comforting feeling to know that someone's got my back. Awesome. And then when you feel settled here, I want you to bring the soles of your feet down to the mat and walk them a little bit wider. Feel for the edge of your mat, or if you don't have a mat underneath you, we're just trying to make a little bit of a wider V with those knees. Keep the feet there, and then we're going to let the knees rock side to side like windshield wipers. So they're both going to come to the left, and then back up through the center, and then they're both going to go to the right. So you can go back and forth at your own pace. We'll stay here for several breaths. This is called windshield wiper. This is a stretch that we do at almost every class at the Perch because it's so good to get into so many of the areas that feel tight for us. It's through the hip flexor in the front of the hip. We've got into the low back a twist, into the glute, the quad, the outer hip. I mean, there's so many areas that it hits. And again, as I said earlier, for many of us, when we are dealing with hard emotions or we're frustrated, we tend to kind of clench in the hips, and that's where we'll feel this tightness. You might not notice it in the moment, but then when you get down on your mat and you start doing this kind of a stretch, you're like, oof. So take some time to stretch out this very tight area for many of us. And we'll stay here for just a couple more breaths. Fantastic. 3, 2, and 1. Now bring the knees back up to center. You can keep your feet wide, and we're going to let the knees come in toward each other. This is called constructive rest. It helps kind of relax through the low back in the hips. And this is where you may want a towel or a blanket or a small pillow. I've just got a blanket here, so I'm going to put this under my head because yoga is also about making ourselves comfortable, meeting ourselves where we're at. It feels so good to have the support we need, right? So I've got a pillow underneath my head here. And as we are resting here in our constructive rest, this is going to be our Shavasana pose. And we're going to stay here for a little while. I'm going to talk to you through this, and we're going to mostly just breathe. Our Shavasana rest pose at the end is a time where there is nothing required of you. You get to just rest and be. Breathe and be. That's it. So what I want you to do is bring your hands to your belly. And as you breathe in and out, feel for the rise and fall of the belly. Nice and slow. Watch for the rise and the fall of the belly. Connecting to your breath here. Letting it fill you up. Relaxing you, relieving any tension. As we're resting here, I want to share with you a quote about self-care that comes from a fantastic author named Parker Palmer. And he writes that self-care is never a selfish act. It is simply good stewardship of the gift that I am meant to give the world, myself. Self-care is never selfish. It is good stewardship. And so, friend, as you have shown up today to care for yourself, you are taking care of yourself, and it is good stewardship. This means you'll be able to be a better friend and family member and student because you have first cared for yourself. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's important, it's powerful that you've shown up today to take care of yourself. So as you continue breathing here, I want to offer you a few affirmations. And so just letting yourself settle in, breathing deeply. I want to offer these to you so that you can just breathe them in and let them wash over your entire being. I am strong. I am capable. I am loved. Now, to let this truth wash over us, we're going to take some big inhales. So I want you to imagine breathing in, filling up the chest, then breathing in more, fill up the sides, and breathing in more, filling up the belly. And then we'll exhale the same way. Exhale from the belly, and then the sides, and then the chest last. Let's do that again. Breathe in, filling up the lungs, and then the side body, and then the belly, and then exhaling out from the belly and the sides and the chest. Our breath is a reminder that we can't keep pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring without pouring back in. It would be like exhaling without ever inhaling. We have to breathe in order to breathe out. And so as you lie here breathing, I want you to know that you are doing something so powerful, so good for yourself. We breathe in to nourish ourselves, and then we get to breathe out that nourishment to others, our community, our world. I hope that this practice has been deeply nourishing for your heart and your mind and your soul today. And so before we do anything else, I want you to check in with yourself. How do you feel? There's no right or wrong way to feel, but checking in with ourselves is such a powerful way to care for ourselves. How does it feel to have the breath moving in and through the body? What, if anything, have you noticed that has shifted during our practice today? If you've got a few more minutes, I hope you'll just stay right where you are, resting and breathing because you deserve it. But if this is all the time you've got for today, I completely understand. I hope you'll come join us at the Perch sometime. We're located at 140 South River Street, Suite 114 in Aurora. We have lots of yoga classes, workshops, and other things to help you care for yourself. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, friend, and I hope to see you soon.